All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Moonhawk Studios Presents. I am your host, Mac Paladin. And I swear to God, I feel like I'm half in the bag and I don't even drink. With me in the studio, as always, is my good friend Adam. Adam,
Adam, you
have
here?
you muted yourself?
No, I don't see a mic off. Did he step out? Or is there mic issues? Oh boy, there
Is he
might be
about to
mic
disconnect?
issues.
So, welcome to Moonhawk Studios Presents, the stream that wouldn't be a stream if it wasn't scuffed.
That's a
There's always
mood.
something with us, folks. There's always something.
Usually, I am the one held responsible for this asylum. But in this particular case, my co-host seems to be Zorked.
He was taken by the Borg.
All right, we'll circle back to him in a moment here. We have Kevin in the house.
Yeah, I'm here at least. I'm okay here.
Petty fans
Somehow.
lurking in the shadows, trying to break out of the box.
Yeah, no, I may fall asleep in this box.
Oh dear. And we got the Galax here.
Rumors of my existence are founded.
Adam!
Oh, there you are.
Jesus Christ, man. We've been calling to you for like the past 5 minutes. Where have you been?
Oh, sorry, I had to take care of something.
Oh,
Jesus. I
Sorry
give the
about that.
explanation of the show usually as a lead, as a prelude to us actually starting the show. Anyway, so Adam is now my co-host
We're on the
and
air.
Adam are now here. Hooray!
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
As I told everybody, I said it wouldn't be Moonhawk Studios Presents if we weren't scuffed.
At least we're less
Professionally
scuffed
unprofessional.
than some other weeks.
Yeah. Tales of the Absentee Host, Volume Infinity. Oh, man. All right. Allegedly, we have a great show for you tonight, and we have a lovely guest, and we will get to that in a moment. But let us start off with the news. Adam, what's cooking?
It's cold. Like,
In Florida.
yeah.
Hell hath
Well,
truly frozen over.
well, it's in the 40s.
Well, Florida hath not frozen over, so.
Well,
Yeah,
Well.
Florida, it's
we're
cold.
about 10 degrees above freezing. So,
Lucky. That's balmy compared to where it is here in Atlanta.
Oh,
still, it's Florida. It's cold for Florida.
It's
Yeah.
long pants weather, is what you're saying.
You'd get apple cheeked. Like, but yeah, on the other hand, we're not going to get any snowstorms anytime soon. So, let's see. Nothing really else going on this week. Sometimes that happens.
Yep.
Kevin, you're up.
Nothing really much going on here. Just weekends at the AMC. The AMC that has a lot of water leaks going around.
Oh dear.
Yeah, my AMC has like in a couple of my auditoriums, the parts of the roof, pieces of the roof have come off, and let's just say when it rains a lot, there's only one place that it can go in. So, yeah, when you have a building that is, I'd say, about 4 or 5 owners old. Like it used to be owned by one theater chain. That theater chain got bought by another. That theater chain got bought out, and then one last time for AMC. You have that kind of situation. You have an old building, and when your company is in large funded by Reddit.
I hate that.
Yeah. When you have that kind of situation, eventually it piles up. So I'm just gonna rock it till the wheels fall off, and gonna be still doing my thing at the AMC every weekend. So at least it's
You
not
knocked
every
over
it's not every auditorium at least.
your coworker knocked over a facade and then said Moulin Rouge underneath it.
Nah, it's more like a piece of the roof just like came on down. It's like it's the age is showing. It's never good, but well,
Just before the whole Robin Hood scenario, the AMC theater in Tucson here got completely remodeled. They did like a $40 million upgrade to it.
that's what we
And
did here.
yeah, and what's funny is the Foothills Mall was actually mostly torn down. They are turning it into a luxury shopping town.
Because of course they are.
But they left the AMC theater standing as one of the anchors.
Well, I mean, it still runs and it still works. People still go
but it's
to it.
weird. But it's weird seeing a formerly mall attached building having all of the outside walls torn off of it
Yeah.
and turning it into a standalone building. And they're building apartments and condos lining the walkway that used to be the interior of the mall.
Huh. That'd be a strange place to live. Hey, this place used to be a mall. Now it's my house.
Yeah.
Well, that used to be the Macy's right there. Wow.
Well, it's like I heard on the TikToks, asbestos is the bestos. This mall was built in the 50s. This mall was originally built in the 1950s. So I'm staying away from the construction zone unless I absolutely have to be anywhere near that shit.
Yeah, that's gonna be quite the place. Anyway, that's my news. Petty, you're up.
It's been freaking cold.
Yeah, you got it colder up there, I'd assume.
Yeah, over the weekend we had wind chills in the negative 20s. We had over the weekend the drain in our kitchen sink froze. And it's been frozen since this morning.
Hasn't burst, has it?
No, luckily it was just the drain and not the supply.
Well, get careful because that thing might be frozen now, but eventually that thing's gonna melt, and that thing might cause some issues.
We already got it to melt and pushed it through, and there's no leaks or anything like that. We're good.
Okay, good.
Because that's one of the first things we checked is because we actually have access to where the sewer line goes out.
There you go.
So we checked there, the main tie-in, and around the wall, there's no wetness. So we checked. So we're good on that. So now it's just hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, well, got one more cold push coming in this weekend.
Yeah.
Before everything turns above freezing and warms up, before it'll probably get cold again next month.
Hopefully not.
That's the way these El Nino winters go.
Yeah. Luckily, after Sunday, we're looking at temperatures above freezing. So if we can brave the next front, we should be good. And then
Apparently, Alina informed me that up in Victoria,
BC.
Yep, it hit negative 40 Celsius.
Fun. That is not a hell I ever want to be anywhere near.
Which is minus 104.
I think the thing that sucks the most for us is because our house is from the 1920s.
No, it's actually minus 40.
So we don't have very good insulation.
Don't have good insulation, don't get heating.
Well, we don't even have central heat anymore because our mom's a dumbass who, when we were going to college, instead of calling and getting it turned off in the summer, just let it roll, and now it'd be about $6,000 to get it turned back on. So yeah,
Yikes.
it's space heaters for us now because,
Boy.
and yeah,
Hmm.
unfortunately whoever designed this hellhole put the plumbing in exterior walls with very little insulation. So that's fun. This is the most sarcastic fun you can possibly put there.
So basically, the pipes freeze, and then they explode.
Yes, we actually had some what was a downstairs kitchen. We have a mother-in-law apartment set up. We had a kitchen downstairs that we actually had 2 pipes freeze and burst, and we had to cap those. So that sink is now entirely unusable.
I decided not to live in a cinder block apartment because here in Tucson they do smart things like run cabling and conduits through the open holes in the cinder blocks and then don't fill them with spray insulation.
The cable technician inside my brain is currently screaming now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just run it through some PVC piping down the holes in the cinder blocks and then punch a hole in the side of it.
Well, that's oh my god! I would kill someone. Just violently beat the life out of them.
I mean, yeah, we're in the Wild West here.
I mean, at least
What's
your
that?
electrical's probably up to some kind of code. Again, our house was built in the 1920s, so what the fuck's electrical code?
Well, I decided not to save $200 a month to freeze to death during the winter time and then roast in the summer because it would be like being in a brick pizza oven for a house.
Yeah, so that
It was a nice apartment in the springtime.
our house is not nice, like ever. But we still got like 5 years left on the mortgage and can't afford to go anywhere else.
Hooray.
Yeah. It's one of those, Dad was like, oh, we're going to fix it up and do all this cool shit, and he doesn't care anymore. He thinks he's going
so
to
over
retire. He thinks he's going to retire at 65. He has no pension. He's basically the main breadwinner, but he thinks he's going to retire at 65.
That's cute.
Yeah, that's what we're all thinking. He thinks he's going to live off Social Security, and he's going to get it. He's just going to work part-time Burger King.
My dad asked me, he says, so are you paying into Social Security with your current job? And I said, fuck no. I said, why the hell would independent contractors pay into something we will never see?
Yeah. Like, he at least has a decent job. He works in healthcare, but it's like he doesn't have a pension unless he somehow comes up with like a 6 or 7 figure retirement fund that he hasn't told anybody about. He's not retiring at 65. But that's gonna be a hell we're gonna deal with in about 5 years.
I'm going to be a social media influencer until I'm 98.
But yeah, I think that's it from me.
All right. Galix, what do you got cooking?
Well, it has been a long and eventful weekend. Because there was a couple of video game things I had to do on like Friday, Saturday, because it was Splatfest and a couple other things, I think. And because it was a long weekend, I decided to finally not complete, obviously, but do the end of Tears of the Kingdom. So I've seen that now because a couple of the people who I've been watching playing through it are getting close to the end. So I'm like, I should probably actually do that. And then
That way you don't spoil yourself.
yeah. Well,
That way you can get spoiled by the streams.
I've been a little bit spoiled on some stuff, but it's still more fun to experience some things on your own before,
Yeah, that's how I felt with Skyward Sword.
So I did that. On Sunday, it was my family's Christmas holiday type thing. Everybody got to make it except for my sister and her new boyfriend, who were not feeling good. Which is not bad for this time of year. And that went well, but was, quite tiring for the usual reasons. But it went pretty well. And then Monday was a holiday. That's actually when I beat Tears of the Kingdom. And then Tuesday, which was not technically a day off, but we had snow that lasted a significant amount of the day, so it was a work from home day for work. Technically, they were open for a couple hours in the morning before I got there, but they closed before noon, so then today was my first day this week back in the office, but I also had to rake the roof again before that, which was not a ton of fun because I'm getting to the age where my back and arms don't automatically work well. But I have actually been stretching before and after, and that helps.
I've had a nagging pain in my right shoulder for 6 months now. It just hurts. No reason. It just hurts.
That's no fun.
And I just accept it.
So yeah, that's about what's up with me.
All right. Well, it's been bouncing between the low 30s and mid 40s here in old Tucson, Arizona. So now that my roommates are gone, and I don't have 3 human bodies, 5 cats, 6 computers, and 3 televisions, and an assortment of monitors running, I decided to go ahead and use the heat for the first time in 4 years. Lo and behold, even though it's the same device that runs the air conditioning, which has been on perpetually for 5 years because of aforementioned human furnaces all living in the same apartment, the heater does not work unless I crank it up to 80. If I run it at 75, it blows cold air and makes a weird guitar tuning noise. This is the best way I can describe it. Like it sounds like a guitar riff backbeat on a hip hop song.
Well, unless you have an actual heat pump, it's not using all the same internals to do that, so it's not shocking that one of it would work and the other one wouldn't.
Yeah, it's one of those heat pump central air systems that in order to generate heat, it also uses Freon. Yeah, I fucking hate everything about utilities and appliances in Arizona and the way they choose to do things, and the fact that everything in this goddamn place is electrical. Is quite annoying. I wouldn't mind a couple of natural gas items that, I know gas prices typically are higher these days, but it's still more efficient, so you wouldn't have to run it as long. That's the thing. My mom's like, oh no, we're never getting rid of our gas stove. Fuck Joe Biden. Because he was like, oh yeah.
I think the environmental case that people have been trying to make for essentially making humanity a fireless race is overstated, because you're going to want fire for cooking, gas fire, and you're going to want
Oh yeah.
fire for heating is more. It has more of a lingering effect than electrical heat.
Yeah, virtually every gourmet kitchen in the world uses gas stoves because it gives you a more even heat. It would be like, are we now going to outlaw barbecue grills? And propane doesn't really add that much to the carbon footprint unless you're using it as jet fuel.
Yeah, and
In which case-
I don't think most people are like seriously proposing that would be done, but that's not the end that the environmental improvements need to be made on.
Right. Basically jet fuel is extremely high-end kerosene.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does have a significant impact on the environment because I think it burns at a higher temperature or something. I don't know. It creates more smog than your kerosene lamp by several orders of magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
That, and you don't want to inhale the fumes because it will basically liquefy your lungs. That's why I know people aren't huffing jet engines.
They aren't?
Yeah, imagine that, right? But anyway, so that's what's been going on with me. So I have a 20-plus-year-old space heater that I inherited from my grandmother that only works on, so it has off setting power level 1 and power level 2, and if you put it on power level 2, it blows its own internal circuit and has to be reset.
Lovely.
Yeah, so I have to sit really close to it, practically to where my pants are catching on fire. Otherwise, it doesn't heat up the whole room. Like, I tried putting it in the doorway of the bedroom and projecting it inward, and that did not work. And it's kind of defeatist if, like, you're using a fan to try to push the heat around because it has a net cooling effect. Like, I would have better luck using the exhaust from my i7 computer behind me as a room heater than I would try and use a fan with this space heater. So that's the funness I've been dealing with. But I did actually find a functional radiator. Somebody wheeled one out to the trash one day, I guess on move out, and I took a gamble on it, because it was clean and it looked relatively new, and so I brought it in and turned it on and heated up my living room. So, huzzah! Of course, I got to be careful with that because it has a 900 and 1600 watt option, and I don't need a goddamn $1,000 electric bill. So, yeah. Not much to say studio-wise. I'm still contemplating my next move. The lore comic has been a little bit stalled the past couple of weeks because I've been doing a lot of extra hours. I went to Phoenix on Monday, and that was exhausting. So yesterday I spent most of my time building a computer and cleaning my apartment. I'm almost there. All right, let's get into this. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest tonight. Our guest tonight is Troy Wellington of the Coach Troy YouTube channels. Troy, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thanks for indulging our extraordinarily long introduction here.
Well, you're talking about weather, and I'm up here in Minnesota. So I've got the
boy.
negative 30 wind chills, and I got a couple dead cars in my driveway because
I know
the
exactly
batteries
how
are
that.
frozen.
I know exactly how
Oh,
that is.
God.
Half of my family's from Minnesota, so I know exactly how that works.
Oh man, and yeah, you can't really change a car battery when it's like -30, and like how do you
Mhm.
even function tools? Yeah, it's been fun. So Adam, and you're 10 above freezing. Yeah,
I mean,
I,
the
you
trade-off
made me
is
a
the
little upset when
summers
I
are
heard that. I'm not.
brutal.
Uh,
What part of Minnesota, by the way?
I'm in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis area. Mm-hmm.
Ah, my
I got,
uncle John. Before he moved here to Tucson, my uncle John actually lived in St. Paul,
oh
the
shit,
Twin
Um,
Cities.
got it.
yeah, my family's mostly around Fridley, um, Plymouth,
Okay.
Anoka County, and northern Hennepin County. Yeah, right up around there.
Actually, I'm lying. I got priced out of Minneapolis. I'm in Fridley now. That's where we got our house.
Fridley.
But so I'm in
How funny is that?
friendly frackin' Fridley. So
Mhm. It's a nice little town. I've been there a couple times in my childhood to see my uncle and aunt. So nice little town.
yeah, I'm liking it. It's been good to me so far.
Adam, you were going to tell us the trade-off.
Yeah, the summers. Like, the-
Well, also Florida.
well, I'm talking about Florida weather, but
Uh-huh.
not just the heat, but the humidity. Yes.
Oh, we got you there
Yeah.
too with the 10,000 lakes. So
Yeah. Mhm.
Minnesota gets the best of both worlds.
Yep.
All right. Circling the wagon back here, Troy. Tell us a little bit about your channel and what you do.
So on my channel, I do workouts. So it's Coach Troy. I've been a coach for 17 years now. So
Mhm.
workouts, board gaming. I recently started a channel getting into retro gaming, and of course, the main reason the internet exists at all is for cat videos. So my cats get lots
Uh,
of shorts of them.
cat videos and a certain other thing that we won't talk about. Non-wholesome content.
Oh, I think cat videos is probably more cat videos than the tasteful short films you're referring to.
Oh, okay. I see. A man of taste and
I'm guessing.
culture. I see.
The internet is really, really great for cat videos.
I think cats somehow figured a
Thank
way
you,
to create
thank
the
you,
internet.
thank you, Trekkie monster. Nega Trekkie monster, I guess, would be more appropriate. Evan, you Q. I really need to go see a show of that before that closes forever. All right. Well, all right. That pretty much takes care of my introduction. Adam, let's get down to the brass tacks here before
Well-
everybody takes a nap from my nattering.
Not the worst idea. But anyway, there are a lot of avenues we could approach because you essentially got 3 channels here. But I suppose we should start with the coach stuff, since I think that seems to be the main hobby that you do. Like, given that that's your YouTube name, Coach Troy.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. How?
or is the personal fitness stuff truly professional?
No. Well, how it got started was, well, during COVID, we were not able to. Well, because it's gone now. But no, when COVID was at its peak, all the schools were closed down, and so I had all these kids that I've coached. I coach all 3 seasons, and I was not able. We couldn't have any contact. Um, so just as a way to stay interactive with the kids I'm working with, just to give them something I don't know, some way to keep in contact with them. I would post YouTube videos for a while I was doing like every other day, but then it was, kind of cut down on that. Actually, I think I was doing every day for the first week of just posting workouts, and that's how it started. And then having no idea what I was doing, just my crappy 10-year-old laptop camera and and set up in the basement. But yeah, from there, then just started, was able to put together a little more of a professional look to it. I guess it still doesn't look terribly professional, but but that is something that I've continued since then. But I've just added doing more things that are hobbies of mine that I'm interested in.
And do you still do the personal fitness stuff?
Well, unfortunately I messed up my shoulder pretty good. And so I am I'm rehabbing, recovering, recouping it. Trying not still trying to stay a bit active, but I'm not able to do what I want to do. But I'm hoping to pretty soon get back into being able to do full workouts and then get myself back into not looking like a blob that I kind of look like now after sitting on the shelf. And yeah. And then I should be getting into that now. But I made a separate channel for my workouts, and I'm taking a lot of the old video, the better ones, and I'm just kind of touching them up, making them look better, brighter, getting the sound a little more clear now that I have a better understanding of what I'm doing. And I'm going to be putting those over, but that's, it's a slow process, but I hope to be able to get up one a week until I'm able to actually start doing them myself.
Well, good luck to you on that front. Injuries are never fun or good, but at least it sounds like it's something you can come back from.
Oh yeah. Just now that I'm in my 40s, just got to be a lot more careful about when you're young, you can do anything.
It's funny that we're talking about weather and being in our 40s. I'm over here saying, oh, it's in the 40s and I'm in pain and my shoulder is hurting for no reason. It just hurts. I'm in rehab.
When you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I can relate.
Yeah. I don't know what I did. I just woke up and it hurt.
Apparently we have the dinosaurs to thank for this. That's a whole thing I won't get into. Anyway,
we go down that rabbit hole. We'll be talking about flat earthers all around the globe.
No, there was apparently a study that came out not too long ago about how because the dinosaurs were so dominant and mammals had to adapt fast, it's a direct result of our aging process, as opposed to reptiles who don't show signs of aging. So, anyway, shifting away from the personal fitness stuff, since that's really kind of beyond the scope of this show, and getting into the other endeavors, which are more entertainment oriented. I suppose we should start with the main channel, which aims to be board game focused. Alex, you might have to jump into here because you're the closest thing we have to a board game guy on staff. But anyway,
I'll try.
Very nice.
The first question here is, why board game?
Board games. Say I coach. I do sports. I've been active my whole life, and so I'm very competitive. And board games are an amazing way to stay competitive while not having to put your body through grueling trainings and competition and whatnot. And
I don't know. I think the Golics might dispute you on that. if some of the sessions that I've heard about from Pathfinder are any
Yeah.
indication.
Well, it is
depends.
important to have a good gaming group. That's gaming with family sometimes doesn't work out too well. I know that. That's where
Tell
most
you
of the
what,
fights
my
happen.
my sister refuses to lose.
Oh, yeah.
My dad can never remember the rules, and my
Mhm.
mom has a hard time getting invested in a lot of things.
Oh,
All
yeah.
I know is I'm morbidly fascinated about watching these videos on TikTok of these guys hand making Settlers of Catan boards out of wood and laser etching.
Yeah, the Settlers of Catan people are extra.
Something else.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you
Like-
should watch a Settlers of Catan tournament. They 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 will go to blows over getting certain numbers.
Asking me for sheep.
Oh yeah, that's
Excuse me, wool. They're professionals. It's wool.
oh. Right now.
Like-
Yeah, wood for sheep is always the
Yeah.
the
you
best
will
trade.
trade that ore to me. Like, yes. But to narrow things down a bit, you seem to review board games. You don't do board game sessions, which are two different things.
Oh yes. Yeah, I wanted, I wanted a way to kind of get into board games to kind of share my appreciation for them. I'm often accused of being overly positive, um, believe it or not. But but yeah, I wanted a way to I go over board games. I will review them, talk about them, what I like, what I think is good, what is bad. Um, Sometimes what similar games that if you like this one, then these are other ones that you like. Like I've got a series that I do on there, like 5 better games, where I'll take some of your more popular games, like your Monopolies, your Clues, things like that, and I will suggest 5 more more modern games that I think that if you like those different aspects of like, what do you like about them? And here are games that will branch off that I think that are just that would be more fun, something that you can get into, something to progress your way into the hobby.
I'm assuming it's not just like, here are 5 different versions of Monopoly.
Oh no!
I mean, there's a lot of Monopoly these days.
Oh man, yeah, Monopoly is one of the best and
Stretched.
somehow worst things to happen to board gaming, because it's popular, it's everywhere, it gets board gaming everywhere, but it's just such a terrible game.
Which was partially by design, of course, but the fact that it was by
Yeah.
design got kind of lost somewhere
Yeah,
in
that
the transition
was-
of Parker
Mhm.
Brothers and stuff.
It was
Well-
to show the negative effects of
Capitalism.
capitalism. Yep.
And then
I forget what the name was originally called, but
The landlord game.
yeah.
I hate Monopoly. It always has the rich get richer. Yes, that's the point.
hmm
I'm like, Yeah.
I'll throw a Star Wars theme on there and sell it.
I'm like, yeah, it's like there's a lesson to be had there, and but we're not the politics show anymore.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right. Anyway, so in terms of like board games, do you go towards the popular stuff or do you go towards the obscure stuff? I mean, is there any limit there?
I like to I like going for the older stuff because I think it's important to know your roots. And you can kind of see how games have progressed. So I have a big appreciation for older games. Like being in Minnesota, I've got the 3M collection, the Minnesota Mining Company. So they had those bookshelf games that were pretty popular in the 60s, 70s. If you got a bunch of those, like was it Acquire was in there, and Acquire was the game that Monopoly, that should have been that had the place of Monopoly. Very great game. So I like those, but then of course all the new stuff. Like I've been playing Marvel Zombies a lot, and that was that's a newer one that came out from Simon Games.
Is that anything like zombies with the 3 exclamation points?
No, that's it is.
See, I was wondering if it was
a
like
little bit
Zombicide.
different.
It is a
It's a
Zombicide game.
Zombicide game. Yes, it is a Zombicide game. But if, have
Okay,
you read
that's interesting how that would play with people actually having superpowers. But I guess the zombies also do.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one. It's if you read the comic books, Marvel Zombies comics, it kind of goes along that where you're pretty much you can be the Incredible Hulk, but now you're a zombie, and so you have your objectives that you got to do, but you're also eating people along the way. And you can use your hunger to get stronger, but at a certain point you get too hungry where the only thing you can do is eat. You can't use your powers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, Zombicide, for those not familiar, was always somewhere on the line between a traditional board game and a tabletop war game.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, lots of dice, lots of luck, lots of anything, lots of swinginess, and anything can happen.
Scenario-based victories, and you need strategy and stuff.
Mm-hmm. But I just have the base game for that. I've got a friend who, one big thing for board games right now was the Kickstarter. I think Exploding Kittens really kicked that off.
Mm-hmm.
And things can get pretty insane for Kickstarter. Like I think he spent almost $1,000 to get all this stuff for his Marvel Zombies collection, and he's got all these boxes. He's never going to use them all, but
sounds like buying Carcassonne.
I restrain myself from kickstarting board games usually because I don't have that much storage room.
Oh yeah.
As it is, I have some
already.
board games balanced on top of my bookshelf next to my Gunpla boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got my girlfriend will allow me 2 bookshelves in the house, but then the garage, of course, is full. I probably got over 500, and yeah, so adding a 20-box Kickstarter is just, especially when I already have a wall of shame of games that I have not played yet that I bought.
Mm-hmm.
That is always one of the unfortunate traps of getting into board gaming is you will get that wall of shame.
It's one of the reasons that, okay, so how many people do you need to play this with, and how long does it take for people to learn how to play become important factors?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. You got to get stuff that you're gonna have a gaming group for. Like if you very important to get that gaming group, know who it is, and then get games that can fit in there. Because when I first got into the hobby of board gaming, I would make the mistake of getting an awesome campaign game with giant textbooks of rules that it was going to be so much fun. But then, who's as we get older, it's a little harder to set aside an entire weekend to play one scenario.
Back when I still was going to the gaming store regularly, there was one day when we tried to do Arkham Horror, and it took a long time to get how that works under our belts.
Oh yeah. Well, you have to have your rules guy in every gaming group as well.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, a lot of times that lands on me. That's also why I like doing the videos of the reviews, because it helps me to understand the games better.
Mm-hmm.
If I explain them and talk about them, then that will help me, so that I do that, then I can talk to I can teach people then.
I'm usually the rules guy in any given group I'm in, if only because I'm not afraid of actually looking through the instruction booklet and trying to find things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Although
when you're the rules guy, you're always the one that everyone tries to beat, because they think you're going to win and you have an advantage.
Thankfully, I'm generally the least aggressive player in my family, at least. Well, I don't know. My sister is the most aggressive, so she's always the one to try to beat.
Mm-hmm. She get into those any table flipping action there?
No, but whenever. Okay, so for example, we don't play Monopoly anymore, but when we did, she's the kind of player who will hide extra money that I think she obtained legitimately, but she'll hide it like in her sock or under the cushion of the chair she's sitting in, so that when then she'll like claim she can't pay you for something or can't offer any more for a deal, and then
Oh God.
and then
That's
but then
when
when
we
she
use
really
it.
wants something, like the extra $1,000 comes out.
That reminds me of when we used to abuse the promissory note system in life.
My old coach had a saying: "If you're not cheating, you're not trying." So, while I can appreciate that, right? That's written somewhere. But yeah, learning how to lose properly is actually a very important skill that I think it's not taught well. I've like when I play with my nieces and nephews, I am extra ruthless. Only because I feel that they need to learn how to lose properly, and that they can't get away with the crying and the pouting and the.
Oh, you have something that you didn't like that play? Well, let's consult the oratrice mécanique. Let's consult the oratrice mécanique d'Annalise Cardinale about that.
It's a Star Trek quote, right? That you can commit no errors and still lose.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
that's the
from season 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Data playing chess.
Peak performance.
Very
An
good.
actually good episode from season 2. He wasn't playing chess, he was playing stratagema against a particularly surly Zach Dornian.
All right, this isn't Red Letter Media.
I was just having flashes of that. I watched their trivia show the other night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice. But yeah, well, I think that is an important thing. You got to learn how to lose, especially at a young age. I think it's very key. That way, also, when you do win, you feel like you've actually earned it and you appreciate it more. Which,
Now I'm just picturing that one Perry Bible Fellowship comic.
You're on your own on that one.
It's the third place metal meme. Look it
Oh,
up.
okay. The one where the guy like does the fucking like victory touchdown
Yeah.
slam dance, breaks
Yeah,
a bottle
yeah,
of
yeah.
champagne.
Okay, yeah.
And it's revealed
I know
that he's
that one.
standing on the third place podium.
yeah,
Yeah.
when it zooms out and you see he's there.
Yeah.
He's like 7th place, actually, or something like that. I don't know.
It gets exaggerated in the memes, but that's basically the thing, and it's from Perry Bible Fellowship. Like, anyway, so how do you determine what is a good board game and what is a bad board game?
First thing is rule book. It has to have good, easy to follow rules. If you have to constantly, if you got to question them or you got to figure it out or go online to find interpretations, that's probably the first thing that's going to drag it down. Like you got to be able to understand rules and be able to teach rules fairly easy. And as far as what is a good game, that all depends on the players. So board games hit just about every single like niche you can think of. So a lot of what makes it good is going to cater to your own personal tastes. So like my girlfriend, for example, she will definitely the easy rules. She wants something, obviously that looks good. Production values can vary greatly, but most of them are pretty good now. And she prefers games that you're being that you're competitive with, where you can mess with other people. So, what's the one? King of Tokyo, for example.
Oh, I've heard of that
You
one.
guys are for that one, yeah. It's well, you're looking at the box. You're playing the role of like kaiju, like Godzilla, King Kong, but of course not those names. Uh, the King, and Gigazor, and things like
Yes,
that.
alternate brand named giant radioactive dinosaur and alternate brand named skyscraper-sized gorilla.
Yeah, the malto meal versions of them. That's
King Vitamin.
and that game is pretty much it takes Yahtzee rules and expands on that a little bit. So it's an easy easy to figure out rule set, but it's able to take those simple rules and kind of immerse you into this giant battle of monsters where you're beating up each other and fighting over dominance of Tokyo. So yeah, that's what she likes to be able to simple, easy, take that and but it's immersive. Like you can get lost in that world while you're playing.
You can. Like, I've been there. I think we've all been there with a board game at one point or another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm like,
That's why also the quick turns I think is a big thing that makes a good board game as well. Like if you have a 30-minute downtime, 45 minutes between your turns, then you're gonna end up checking your phone, thinking of other things, and you spend more.
When we're
doing other
playing
things
like
than-
Ticket to Ride or something, sometimes my parents or whatever need to be reminded or get a little bit annoyed that you can only do one thing on your turn, and I'm like, yeah, that's to keep the turns quick so that it goes around to everybody reasonably fast.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Ticket to Ride is a very popular game. And it does that. It's got that simple, easy, quick turns. You can one action on your turn, and then it goes around really fast so that people are staying immersed. Of course, I've got some people that will argue with me on that. They want to have these. If you talk to war gamers, they want to have every turn should be an hour and a half.
Well, the alternate thing is some deck building games like Ascension or whatever, where usually right before the end of the game or whatever, but you'll have a hand that lets it, or you'll have you will have gotten your deck to a state where you can go through the entire deck every turn almost.
Oh yeah, those they can get pretty swingy.
Late game wingspan is a little bit the turns can get kind of chunky too when you have like 5 birds in every habitat or in multiple habitats with effects that go off when you do their things, but that game actually accommodates for that slightly by making the rounds have less turns in them near the end of the game.
Oh yeah, that's Wingspan is a brilliantly designed game. That's oh yeah, the way that you start out really slow, and yes, it's a game about birds and birding. You might lose some people on the theme there, but it's actually a pretty brilliant game. The way you end up how everything plays off each other, all your birds that you're playing will play off each other, and you get these awesome combos. Like you're building up almost like building up a machine. And then by the end, it goes pretty quick, and you're able to do some pretty cool things.
Now, are there any sort of board games that you won't touch?
That I won't touch. I I like to find the good in just about everything. Like I say, I'm accused of being overly positive sometimes. It's like I'll try every food, I'll try any game, but auction and bidding games, I cannot stand. Some people love them and think they're amazing, but I absolutely hate auction and bidding games.
I've never played with a group and played Monopoly with a group that actually does the auctioning properly.
There's a
I'm
game,
like,
I think,
look,
a game
any
called
group that
Raw.
knows that auctioning is a part of the rule set is hitting under par. Like, seriously, so many people don't know that if you don't buy a property, it goes up for auction. Like, at least the people I played with.
And it's important mechanically that you do that, otherwise properties take forever to actually have owners.
Oh yeah, that's why the game will end up being 3 hours. But
Been there.
You are remarkably swift in your Monopoly playing, if you are claiming to have 3-hour games.
But yeah, there's a game Raw that I played that really turned me off of auction and bidding games, and I just yeah. It's a highly rated game. People love it. But yeah. I will steer clear every time. Other than that, yeah, I like just about anything. Even the super dry Euro games that don't really have much theme. Where you're trading cubes for cubes to
The German style board games and such.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, Euro games are. I think was it after World War II they couldn't have any war in game, like that was like a taboo thing, so they had to find other things to have in games. So that's why the more of American style games would be like your Risk and whatnot, where you're trying to roll dice and conquer other
Risk,
people. But
Yeah.
But in
Real
Europe,
life.
you'd have to do other things.
Like
you'd have to trade sheep for wool.
Have you covered Crossfire yet?
I have not. I think I want to say they remade that game not too long ago.
You might be thinking of Fireball Island.
And that one I know they did, yeah.
Yeah. That one got remade, but I don't know about Crossfire.
I think there was at least some talk about remaking Crossfire, but if they did, they'd have a hard time selling it.
Just remake the commercial. I'm sure they'll do gangbusters.
Well, no, but for not a hard time getting people to want to buy it, a hard time getting like regulatory. I'm thinking about the number of small metal pieces.
Like,
oh yeah, you got to be 18 or older to buy it.
Like, I mean, they can always fall back on VCR games. Remember those?
Oh, hey, I still play Atmosphere once a year for Halloween.
No, I remember that as Nightmare.
Now they're just app games.
Well, thanks to YouTube, I don't have a VCR anymore. So at YouTube, I can just plug that on there and.
YouTube
gotta bust out Night Trap.
That wasn't a board game. Like,
no, I know, but I'm just saying that it was Sega's feeble attempt at adapting the board game concept to an FMV game.
You probably could have done a Night Trap board game. It might have even been better than the actual.
Probably.
But then you wouldn't have had Dana Plato yelling at you.
I mean,
no, you make it a board game with like a video thing, and then she can yell from the VHS occasionally.
Yeah, I'm like, experience the majesty of WWF, the board game. That is a real thing that exists.
Oh, there's several board games for that WWF theme.
Yep. Like, anyway, so I suppose we should press forward to the third facet of your YouTube network, for lack of a better term, and that is retro gaming, which is probably the subject that is most familiar to the majority of us.
It is the name of this channel.
So,
Mac Paladin's Retro Gaming Emporium.
so I suppose we should start with, because the retro gaming fork seems to be a recent development. So, what sparked your interest in this field?
Well, retro gaming is something that I've always been interested. I was a gamer, ever since I was a child. Starting off with the Commodore 64 mostly, and playing, Atari, Nintendo, and slowly moving up through systems. And then, it was something that I always liked doing, but it just got harder to do. And so I moved away from it. And then I always wanted to go back and get into it and play all these games. My friends always had these cool systems. I had a friend who had the ColecoVision, so I would play that every now and again, but I never got to really play it. I had a friend with an Intellivision, and I never really got to play that, just a little bit. So I kind of remembered. I have these memories, small memories as a child of some of those things. But it was always something that I thought I missed. I miss my timing. Everything's too expensive now, and I don't know enough about it. Like I see how much some of these games cost at some places, and like, yeah, that would have been nice if I would have gotten into it and kept it. Yeah, like the days of buying Nintendo games for 50 cents each are, they're gone.
I know people who would kill for that to return.
Oh yeah. And then I was at a thrift store and I saw a ColecoVision, and I said, you know what? The hell with it. I'm gonna do it. I'm getting in. I don't know anything. This thing probably doesn't even work. And it didn't. But I picked it up, I bought it, and I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm getting into it. I don't know anything about it. But I'm gonna try. So I got it, and you say it didn't work. Everything was too fuzzy. The controllers didn't work. So I was like, okay, well, I got it, and I just watched a couple of other videos, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is doable. I took it apart, pretty much just cleaned it up, scraped some things out, and I got it working. And that was just such kind of like a bit of a rush. Like, oh, this is like I'm repairing missing parts of my childhood. And I don't know, maybe it sounds strange, but I was like, all right, well, I'm already doing this stuff. I'll just kind of chronicle my path as I figure this stuff out, as I learn it, as I kind of go along, and as I pick things up. And turns out I picked a pretty good time to get into it with with all this Atari stuff coming out, the Atari 50 year. The 2600 Plus came out, Game Station Pro. And so like I was able to get a nice jump on a bunch of the Atari stuff through that.
And how has the Atari 2600 Plus been? Like,
It's been pretty good actually. I've been happy with it. I play it pretty regularly still. Like that was one thing I was also a little worried about. Like I'm gonna get this stuff, I'm gonna play it for 2 seconds, and I'm gonna be done with it. But but no, I can, as say I'm older now. I don't have as much time to sit down and get into like an Xbox One. You got the 2-hour intro to start a game to figure out what it's about, or I could turn on
Mood.
Centipede. I can turn on Centipede and I can shoot stuff for 15-20 minutes and be perfectly content.
I've been out of most modern gaming since Final Fantasy 13 came out, and it had the 25-hour introductory stage.
Oh, that is insane to me. I mean, I can't judge it too much. I had think Skyrim was the only game I played for a year when I got that.
Oh,
I'm almost embarrassed to say how many hours I put into that.
I put
But
255 hours into Xenoblade Chronicles in 2011.
hmm see, I'm just not able to have that kind of commitment right right now. I'm not ready for
Yep.
that kind of commitment. So shorter trysts with these 8-bit games is these 4K carts is it's much more manageable. I can do that. I can play that, and they're still good. Like I don't know. I thought a lot of them wouldn't be as good as they were, but I got Night Driver the other day, and that's such an underrated racing game. Like I don't hear about that one, but that one is fantastically done with the most basic of graphics.
I mean, you call them basic, but for the time they were revolutionary.
Oh yeah, that's what that's what I say. You look back and they're considered basic, but they're extremely well done. And that's another thing. When I'm going through this, I'm learning like so much that I didn't know about these older systems and what these programmers have, like what they did to make them work. And yeah, I'm just getting a bigger appreciation than just these were games I enjoyed when I was a kid.
Yeah, we had someone on the show not too long ago who's chronicling the entire history of the Atari 2600 or VCS.
Yes, I listened to that, and that was a pretty fascinating podcast.
No doubt. But you're also getting into the more accessible part of retro gaming. That is to say, the new old stuff from the sound of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like for those who don't know, the Atari 2600 Plus is a brand new Atari 2600 that Atari put out last year. Like, as opposed
it's
to
a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the actual technology of the Atari 2600 can be condensed down into a device smaller than my Apple iPhone 8 Plus that's now 6 years old. So they added a bunch of shit. That's how I'm going to put it. It's a 2600 and it plays the cartridges, but they added a bunch of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it's updatable. It's got firmware and HDMI cords, and so you can play it on your fancy TVs without having to hook up like little adapters, things like that.
Yeah.
So
and also I think better build quality, because Atari is an, if you will, old hand at the whole retro console thing, because they've been putting out flashbacks since the mid 2000s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, the Atari's, that's the big popular name, and they've been doing that for, you've got your little like joysticks. That just was an Atari joystick you can plug into your TV with your AV cords. And I actually did have that. I had an Atari Flashback Gold. Atari Flashback 9 Red from At Games. At Games has done a ton of those retro machines.
I'm like,
of varying quality.
I acquired a flashback from Goodwill up in Phoenix for $6, and I only had to sacrifice the power adapter off of a defunct HDMI splitter in order to make it work.
Nice.
I mean, I have an actual 2600 literally in the tote underneath the desk I'm sitting at right now, complete with my late grandmother's collection of Atari 2600 games that she played pretty much up until she died. She had a copy of Bridge and a copy of Missile Command.
Wow.
And that's all she did with it. My dad He brought one home in 1981, and we had we had Pac-Man and Missile Command and Joust and Sky Raiders and Skydiver. Oh God, he and I used to get so pissed off of that. Dad, you got to open the parachute.
I think he likes seeing the men go splat.
Oh yeah. Man,
Like,
that was some serious on-screen violence.
Oh
you're
man,
not wrong. You're not
That
wrong.
and Circus Atari.
especially when they had that little flat line representing the squished part, and then their head and arms were just sticking up out of the ground.
Right? 'Cause you didn't see that before. That was,
Or getting
My
blown
first
off
time
the
you
screen
saw
by
that.
the wind. Or getting when they introduced wind physics. Oh man, hog heaven. Tempest. Don't forget that one.
I'd rather forget the Atari 2600 version of that.
Yeah, so
Yars
that one was not great.
Well, I mean,
Mhm.
there's no way they could do Tempest on the 2600 because
No.
Tempest was a huge.
Yeah, there was a
Here.
few that they did, like Zaxxon as well. There's no way you could make that work.
Zaxxon on the 2600 is just dreadful.
Yeah, it's yeah. I think if they didn't name it Zaxxon, if they named it something else, I think it wouldn't be as hated as it is. Kind of like Pac-Man. If Pac-Man was a Pac-Man clone instead and didn't have that name, I don't think people would have hated it as much.
Possibly. I mean,
But
the actual Pac-Man game isn't good. Because we do have good Pac-Man games on the 2600 and Miss Pac-Man and
oh yeah, Miss
Junior
Pac-Man is fantastic. Oh,
Yeah.
Junior Pac-Man is impossible.
Uh,
Just beating one level of that is that's like a lifetime achievement.
yeah, I remember that being hard. Like,
Oh man, I didn't either, and then I tried to play it, and it took some doing before I could finally just progress one stage.
memories.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
Anyway,
these
so are
machines
you-
are pretty neat.
Yeah, so are
And-
you like primarily focusing on the 2600?
No, like that's just kind of what I have at the moment, and that's what's also pretty popular, and I think, people are not sick of hearing about it yet. Like I say, my main system growing up was a Commodore 64. And I
Alright.
want to get into that. I did pick one up,
Hello.
and I haven't tested it yet. I don't have any discs. I got to find some.
Yes, Mac.
I got booted out of voice for a Discord update in the middle of my sentence there. What was the last thing anybody heard me say?
Blech.
Really?
I don't.
It's during
I
the
don't
interview,
think-
so I don't think you did. I don't think cut off the talking.
What?
And I don't think you
I
cut off
started-
while you were talking, or did you?
Did you hear any of what I said about Double Dragon? Because I didn't hear the response.
No.
Oh,
No.
no. Or we
No,
could have just
we-
chose to ignore Double Dragon.
Yes.
I was talking about so we were talking about skydivers, and we talked about Yar's Revenge, and then I mentioned something about you want to talk about horror, we talked about Tempest, and then I said you want to talk about horror for the Atari 2600, we talked about Zaxxon, and I said the ColecoVision was perfect, and then I said, but if you want bad interpretations, you should try Double Dragon for the 2600. And it was just a rapid succession of pressing the button while maneuvering the joystick to get him to execute different moves. It's like press the button once for a kick, press the button twice for a kick and a punch, press the button 3 times in rapid succession while pressing up for a jump, and do the same maneuver while moving towards the enemy to throw them.
Yeah, you got to get
Yeah.
creative when you got the one button and the limited RAM.
And to think that Atari sued Trade West over this.
I mean,
Atari sued a lot of people. So
they did. They did. Like, because video game law was brand new.
That was the Wild West, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I made the assertion in a Star Wars group that George Lucas made a large portion of his fortune less off of the direct proceeds from his films and more off of the fact that he trademarked everything and sued everybody into oblivion.
Oh, yeah,
There was no character that went unlicensed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He turned over more than 3,000 patents to Disney when he sold the franchise.
I believe it.
Jeez.
He did keep the film rights to the original unmodified version of the first Star Wars film.
He never had those. He never had that. That was always
Sure
at
he
20th
did.
Century. No, that was at 20th Century Fox. Like, it's why Disney couldn't release A New Hope until they bought Fox. Like, rights are weird. Like, anyway, so where are you on your journey through retro gaming? In terms of figuring this stuff out.
Well, I'm kind of teaching myself how to fix up a lot of these old machines. I say I was able to replace a bunch of stuff on the 2600s. I fixed up a couple of those, got them working. I've got a 5200 that I want to be able. I keep trying to get it to work. I may have just mashed it beyond repair at this point, though. And I've got in television. I wanna get fixed up. So I like with the retro gaming, you can do so much. There's so much out there, and so I think I kind of gotta maybe narrow it down a little bit in my scope, kind of focus it in. It'd be way too easy to blow thousands and thousands of dollars on all kinds of stuff. So, uh,
Oh,
so right now I'm having fun with the 2600, and I want to move more into that ColecoVision. I was able to pick up a bunch of games. I want to explore that one because that was one a friend of mine had, a neighbor, and then get that in television going. And then I got a Master System. I also want to fix and then get going.
What's wrong with the Master System?
Just the controller port. I just got to replace the.
That should be pretty replaceable since it's DB9, if I'm remembering correctly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good because this is again I don't have any kind of electrical background. I know nothing about this, so I am just watching videos and teaching myself and figuring it out.
Well,
So this is
So the short version is a lot of old school systems from back in the day use the same kind of plug adapter. It's like the Atari 2600 has the same plug as Sega Genesis and Master System, and I think they use it on the ColecoVision, the Commodore 64, all sorts of things.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Atari wasn't happy about that, but it still proliferated.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of just want to show people that if I can figure out this stuff and do it and get it going, then anybody can do it. If I can pick up a garage sale machine, clean it up, replace a couple wires, and get it working, then anybody can do it. So I don't want people, because again, I wanted to get into retro gaming for a long time, but I was always too nervous to. I didn't think I wasn't confident knowing that I would be able to, do any of this stuff, get anything working, or things would be too expensive, or I wouldn't have the knowledge to do it. And so I just want to, I want to help people get over that any kind of barrier they may have.
Mm-hmm. And have you been posting the repair videos to YouTube?
Yeah, I've got a few repair videos up. I just um, fixed up an Atari Junior that had issues with its buttons. So one of that, and then a Sega controller I fixed. Just simple repairs. Most of it's just cleaning.
Mm.
And I think I fixed the 5200 controllers, but I can't tell because I can't get the main system to work.
Right. Yeah, I'm like, good luck with the ColecoVision and television controllers. As
Hmm.
let's just say they're pretty temperamental, especially the
Well,
Intellivision controllers, because that disc,
yeah, that's a
real.
little more intimidating. The
Yeah.
Coleco was able to take apart, clean it out. After good cleaning it, they're working great. But those Intellivision ones, the way they're even hooked up into the machine itself is it looks a little bit tough.
Yeah, it can be. Like,
I'm
not
trying
to
to
mention,
remember which one my parents had.
well, I'm like, did it have a disc?
It
As
was an
the
Intellivision. I would remember that friggin' wood paneling anywhere, and the controller with the spinny thing and the number pad.
Hmm. Looks
Yeah.
like an 80s cell phone.
I do not know why this became a trend for that particular generation, but it did. Like this, the ColecoVision, and the dreaded Atari 5200 controller all had these phone controllers. Like,
Yeah.
Well, you know it's complicated. You got to have 9 buttons to control a complicated game.
Oh, gee. Well, didn't
I
they
mean,
even do that
in
with the
fairness,
Jaguar
like,
controller?
yeah, the Jaguar controller was also like that. Like, it never stopped being an abomination.
I mean, I want to say they hadn't.
That's still
I want to
Dractrimel at
say
that
they
point.
hadn't really invented good controllers yet. I feel
mean-
like the Intellivision ColecoVision controller might be an improvement over a 1-button joystick.
Mm.
Kinda. I mean, the problem with the Atari joystick is it's stiff.
Yeah.
Like, even in its heyday, it was kind of hard to move around.
Oh yeah. But with that port, you could get any other controllers. Like that was a nice thing about it. I had the Commodore controllers. I had a bunch of those, and I'd just switch them out.
Hmm. Like, and I'm
Or is it
like,
the quick stick and the?
so I suppose my final question is, uh, do you intend to keep this all at hobby level, or do you hope to eventually become more professional at things?
Well, I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I'm having fun with it. I don't want to get to a point where it seems like work. I want to just keep enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun with it now. Um, it's been great. The community has been really good. Feedback I'm getting, people commenting, having conversations through the through the comments, and people who come back and you know and going to their channels and talking with them there and going back and forth like that. It's been fun. I'm really enjoying myself. Um, So right now I'm keeping it at that, just showing what kind of enjoyment you can get out of this kind of stuff, whether it be working out or playing board games or just getting into old games.
Right. So I think I've run through my gamut of questions. Does anyone have anything else?
I'm good.
No, I don't. I don't
Okay.
think so. I think that was pretty solid. That was pretty solid right there. Okay.
All
Well, Troy,
right.
it was really nice. It was really nice having you. Did you want to plug anything? Any appearances? Any special things of note coming down the pike that you want to call attention to before we part ways?
No, just thanks a lot for having me on here. A little shocked when I got I haven't really done any interviews before, so at first I thought it was a rib. I thought someone was messing with me.
Surprise!
Right? Hey, we used to do that with each other back in my MMA days. Uh, we'd have fake fans go up to each other and ask for autographs.
No.
But no,
Nice.
yeah, thanks for having me on.
No problem.
I will be at 2DCon. That's coming up in Bloomington, Minnesota, in next month, February, let's say 12th through 14th. Other than that, yeah, check out my channel, and thanks for talking with me.
Absolutely. Awesome. And you are welcome to stick around for our entertainment section if you've got your second wind coming on. But otherwise, that has been Coach Troy. Be sure to check him out on YouTube and check out his retro gaming and cat videos and exercise stuff. It should be a blast. All right. So let's move into our next segment here. Adam, tell us all about the entertainment news.
Well, let's see. So
Where to start?
Well, it's more. I know where to start because it's actually been kind of a quiet week this week. So, do you enjoy physical media?
I do,
I'm like,
but
If you do,
well,
you have my condolences.
yeah. I'm like, Alex knows where this
And-
is going because physical media
I know.
is retreating from the world.
I know
Like,
Best Buy finally started removing their entertainment section.
Finished, pretty
exactly.
much.
Yeah.
Best Buy
and-
no longer carries DVDs or Blu-rays or any of those things.
No
Yep.
more of those coasters. I mean CDs.
Yeah,
It's all digital subscriptions now.
Possibly not even video games. I'm not sure about that.
That's weird.
I didn't hear anything about video games. I mean, games aren't there yet. I know, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series have the non-disk drive based systems, but here's the thing. Video games just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, do you want to know how much the latest Call of Duty is going to take up in your hard drive?
180 gigs.
Yep.
I have Warzone on my machine, and the updates are like 27 gigs.
Yep. And that is the reason why video games can't, especially on console, can't quite get away from the physical media. It's like, look, not everyone's going to have the connection to download the latest AAA game.
Well, I noticed that even before they had greatly reduced the size of their physical video game sections.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, that's definitely been going on, but
I've heard predictions that big box retail electronics stores like Best Buy may actually physically be gone in their entirety within the next 3 years.
I wouldn't be surprised if at least Best Buy. Well, no. Like I know it's keeping what is keeping Best Buy, and that's appliances.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, if they ever pulled a Circuit City, they would go the same way as Circuit City.
Yep.
Right.
Appliances and phones. That's pretty much what's going to keep them afloat.
Yep.
Because
But
now, when it comes to like Apple stores and stuff like that, there's like the only close Apple stores like hundreds of miles away. But there's a lot more Best Buys than Apple stores. That's for sure.
Well, and the
So-
Apple Store within the store at Best Buy, as well as Best Buy Mobile, which, boy,
Yeah.
didn't those disappear from shopping malls pretty quickly?
Mhm. Like there was a big Best Buy in the Mall of America for a little bit, then that went away. And if I'm correct, that is now a Toys R Us. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I heard they came back.
They opened up they've opened up a brand new Toys R Us inside the Mall of America, where the Best Buy used to be. So, in case that gets your head spinning.
The company that acquired them was trying to reacquire the historic building where the original FAO Schwartz was. You know, the one where they played the piano roll in Big,
in Big,
with Tom
yeah.
Hanks.
Yeah, the one of the stars of Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Mm-hmm. They tried to get that back, but weren't able to, so they recreated it like 4 blocks away in another building, apparently. But I had heard about this and then kind of forgotten about it until you mentioned it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, Best Buy is probably gonna not do what Circuit City did and drop its service, because service is what's gonna keep it around.
Yeah.
Like,
I
Circuit
envision
City
a
was-
restructuring.
Yeah, Circuit City was basically all about service, and then when they dumped service, they were dead in 5 seconds because nobody wanted to go to Circuit City anymore. So yeah, I think Best Buy's not gonna do that, but yeah, it's going to become an electronics store and not a media place anymore, which, well, we'll see how long that lasts, but maybe just enough to keep it afloat, but who knows for how long.
I think there's still strength in Best Buy Mobile, and that's a rather misleading title because it encompasses quite a few things. It encompasses not only mobile phones and devices, but it also covers their entire car audio section, which is still a big deal. And I mean, with Teslas and other EV Wunderkind coming along, with all of their damned electronics, I think that if they adapt to service that portion of the industry, the smart cars of the future, if you will, I think they'll do quite well. I mean, your car is basically becoming a gigantic iPad
Right.
that takes you places. I don't know how thriving Magnolia is going to continue being. I don't ever see anybody in home theater anymore. Like, they could literally sell TVs out of any department now.
Yeah.
Or you could just go to like Target or Walmart and buy the latest 100-inch OLED TV for what, $117.
Yeah.
Prices are getting ridiculously low on that kind of stuff. So, like, reserving that for online orders and as a no showcase / brown box type option, I think is probably going to be the wave of the future. there's still a
Anyhow.
rather large anti-Amazon sentiment that attracts people to stores with a showcase like that. You know, the wall of TVs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah. So this is on the heels of like Disney announcing that they're stopping the production of DVDs and Blu-rays in the country of Australia. Like basically what you're seeing is the kind of long, slow death of the physical media. Like maybe not entirely, but you know, it's getting more and more sparse. Like, and I know there is a very vocal contingent out there who is decrying this. Um,
So all else be equal, I will agree. I will agree that there are significant advantages to going digital, and significant disadvantages to physical stuff, including the fact that even though they seem durable, physical media does deteriorate over time. Unfortunately, the death of physical media is actually basically also being a vessel for the death of people getting to actually own things that they buy. Or at least
Right.
that's what they want it to be. And that's
I mean,
no good.
technically, if you look at the licensing, even of physical media, people have never technically owned. Like you have all the restrictions under copyright law for private and public performances and so on and so forth. So
Yeah, but at
in
least
that
you actually
sense,
have
you never truly had ownership of it.
Yeah, but
But
you have physical control over it, and people can't, and they can't like decide that you don't get to keep your DVD anymore.
well, I
Right.
was going to speak to the preservationist angle. I was going to speak to that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
well, so to speak to the counterpoint there, there was an incident recently on the PlayStation Store that really punctuates this issue. That's because Discovery titles on PlayStation are going away, and it was announced that that included like even if you had previously bought Discovery titles, once the expiry hits, you would not be able to download them. And Sony backed off after the enormous amount of blowback that they got.
Mm. It's
Because
kind of like when they had that lame ass security on the PS3/Vita store, and if you had jailbroken equipment, you could access every game in there and all the DLC in their library for free.
well, yeah, I mean that's the other more unspoken part of this equation. Piracy is preservation, but that is a kettle of fish we don't really have time to get into.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so we're getting short on time here, so I'll conclude things by mentioning we send condolences to the Ghost and Molly McGee, which ended this weekend. Another tragic victim of Disney's TVA expectations.
We're basically
So,
a case of you can't do more than 2 seasons unless
well,
unless we really, 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 really like you, and even then we don't really, really like you.
yeah. Apparently it's because the Ghost and Molly McGee's Disney Plus season 2 numbers were soft.
Yeah, and I wonder
Like,
why they were soft. What? It couldn't be because they didn't They barely promoted it, right?
Well, here's the other. Well, here's the other problem. This thing, this thing apparently hit. Season 2 apparently hit during the Chapek Iger transition. And it's like regime changes.
Yeah.
Always bad for projects and programming. Yeah.
Strikes are bad for that too. Apparently, rookie Feds got victimized by the strike and got canceled. Even though it was an extremely good spinoff of the rookie. The rookie continues. Rookie Feds dies ignominiously after one season.
It sounds about right. Anyway, I think that'll about do it for this week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes our festivities for this week. Next week we have. Ah, shit! I had the window open and then I closed it. Just like an old man. All right. Next week we have. How do you say? Dewey Brand of Scrap.
No,
that's Crystal McGee. I'm sorry, 24th. Crystal McGee, the Mystical Comics. We meant to have her on much earlier.
Yeah, but
stuff and things happened.
So hopefully, we will have her on next week.
Yes. Filmmaker and shameless coffee addict. My current project is The Good Night with at Mystical Comics. Yeah. So should be an interesting episode, and of course there will be many mea culpas and bowing and scraping for the at least on my part for the cause of the delay.
Right. Anyway.
But it is a joyous chore to be able to greet a guest we had to put off.
Yes.
As long as they come back, that's the important thing.
Yep.
All right, kids, that's it for this installment of Moonhawk Studios Presents. I am your host, Mac Paladin. Don't forget to check out Coach Troy and all of his shenanigans over at YouTube. It sounds like a ripping good time. Until next week, I am your host, Mac Paladin. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, kids.